Hello, this is Sarah Brash. Welcome back to my channel. So I want to do a video about how two, I believe they were adjunct faculty, but how two Georgetown law professors were basically fired or forced out because they made comments at the end of a Zoom class, and I don't know if they didn't realize that they were still on video, but they made comments about the fact, the ill preparedness of Black students, generally speaking, for Georgetown law school classes. And so obviously, given the woke tyranny on campuses, this is a verboten topic of discussion. It's taboo to discuss. Statistically, generally speaking, if there's a trend that Black students are ill prepared to attend law school, and in particular at a prestigious institution like Georgetown Law. And so these two, it was the one Georgetown law professor who was speaking and making comments about the ill preparedness of the low academic performance and ill preparedness of Black students in general in her classes. And then the other Georgetown law professor was just sort of, nodding along and just sort of affirming whatever she said, but wasn't, contradicting her or giving her much support verbally, but just was sort of assenting to the statements that she was making about the ill preparedness of the Black students in her classes for Georgetown law school classes. So this was terribly interesting to me, of course, because I have been very public. I've posted on my blog, I've made YouTube videos. So before the Living or Napping While Black hate crime hoax at Yale, I was an advisee of Tom Tyler. Tom Tyler in the Yale Law School. He's a sociologist. He's not a sociologist. He's a social psychologist, but he has an appointment in the Yale. His primary appointment is in the Yale Law School, and I was his advisee. He was one of my advisors. I was working with him. He's one of the co-directors of the Justice Collaboratory, along with Tracy Mears, both of whom were on Barack Obama's 21st Century Policing Task Force. And Tom Tyler is the father of procedural justice, and at the Justice Collaboratory, they specifically work on the issues of police brutality and implicit bias and racism in policing. And so I was one of Tom Tyler's students, and I thought I had an excellent relationship with him. He seemed very pleased with my work. The thing that I specifically wanted to do with him is engage in an empirical social psychological study on the nature of authority, the nature of legitimacy, and the nature of the relationship between the two concepts. That's what I was working on. I had developed a design for the social psychological study, and that's what I was working on with Tom Tyler. That's why I wanted him to be one of my advisors. And he loved my project. He absolutely loved it. So, of course, as I've spoken in different venues and told you guys repeatedly, he threw me over eventually, I believe at the behest of Tracy Mears, because I began at one point publicly denouncing Veshla Weaver and Chris Lebron, both professors of Johns Hopkins. Both Veshla Weaver and Chris Lebron were at Yale before they left and moved to Johns Hopkins. Veshla Weaver is still a member of the Justice Collaboratory, and I worked with Chris Lebron when he was at Yale before he made the jump to Johns Hopkins on explicitly anti-racism conferences, in particular the Joyce Mitchell Cook Conference, honoring the first African-American woman in the U.S. to get a PhD in philosophy, which she obtained at Yale. So Veshla Weaver and Chris Lebron, Chris Lebron knew me very well. Veshla Weaver knew me. They both knew me as an entirely innocent anti-racism Yale grad student and civil rights attorney. So they 100% knew that I was innocent. So after the Living or Napping While Black hate crime hoax at Yale in May of 2018, subsequently, Veshla Weaver wrote a grossly defamatory and disgusting and lying piece, article, essay for Vox.com. Vox.com is evil and they should shudder themselves in abject shame for what they did to me. So Vox.com helped Veshla Weaver write a disgusting lying piece about me, even though she 100% knew that I was innocent. And this was to use me as a proxy to get revenge against Yale because Chris Lebron had been denied tenure at Yale before he made his jump to Johns Hopkins. And so because I began publicly denouncing Veshla Weaver and Chris Lebron for having done this to me, this is why I believe Tracy Mears pressured Tom Tyler into dropping me as an advisee after the hate crime hoax at Yale, even though Tom Tyler had been very supportive of me and had written for me one of my character letters that went to Yale General Counsel to help stop Yale from expelling me after the hate crime hoax at Yale. So that's the whole backstory. And then, so something that I've been very public about, have repeatedly made blog posts and YouTube videos and tweets about, is the fact that in April 2018, a couple of weeks before May 8th, 2018, which was the culminating event of the Living or Napping While Black hate crime hoax at Yale, the Justice Collaboratory, Tom Tyler, had a dinner at a nice restaurant in New Haven, Connecticut for his Justice Collaboratory students. And so it was me and a handful of other students, all of whom we worked together. We all knew each other. We worked together at the Justice Collaboratory. We worked with Tom Tyler. We went to Tom Tyler's lab meeting each week, et cetera, to present on our work that we'd been doing. So in April 2018, at this nice dinner in a restaurant in New Haven, Connecticut, me and the other Justice Collaboratory members, including Tom Tyler, began a conversation. And I don't remember exactly how we got onto this topic, but at that time, Tom Tyler made very similar statements to the statements made by the two Georgetown law professors about the ill preparedness of black students. And Tom Tyler went even further. So what he said is that he basically said that there are virtually no black students black high school students in the U.S. who are academically prepared to handle the rigors of any college or university in the U.S., let alone Yale. He literally said this. Tom Tyler, the father of procedural justice, social psychologist, Yale Law School professor, co-director of the Justice Collaboratory at Yale Law School, he 100% said that there are virtually no U.S. black high school students who are prepared to attend any college or university in the U.S., let alone an elite institution like Yale. He said that. He 100% said that. So if these two Georgetown law professors need to be fired for commenting on the ill preparedness of black students in the U.S. for law school courses, then Tom Tyler also needs to be fired from Yale Law School. That's right. I don't want this video to get too long. I'll probably make more videos on this topic, but I'll have all of my fundraising links below: PayPal me, GoFundMe, a direct link to my wonderful attorneys at Randazza Legal Group. So please, donate if you can, so that I can help me to restore due process and equal protection at Yale, at Smith College, and everywhere. Okay, I love you all so much. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.